Good morning, fellow fantasy football freaks, and welcome to the show. Good to see those of you who are there today. Hey, we got a good morning from Nick. Good morning, hashtag Tyrant Gang at Bad Financial Decisions, Nick. Oh no, has it been that bad a fantasy year for you, bud? In a few too many leagues that aren't going so well. Is that what you're saying? Hey, let me help you out here. That's what we do. Good morning, all, says Paul Dickhouse. I'm getting like different like ads and names here. Did they update something for some reason? Oh shit. Did they update something on YouTube? That's weird. Hold on, I gotta fix something. Okay, there we go. Sorry. All right. Continue the good morning rolls. Hey, what's up, Matt? Good morning, Tyrant Gang. Cheers and happy 420. Yeah, let's get that started off. I'm gonna light up the old morning J. This one's Tang Breath. Hey, we've all had Tang Breath sometimes, right? You know, you're going down on the lady, and you don't have time to brush your teeth, so you're walking around like, hey. And they're like, oh, I know what you had for breakfast. A little poontang pie, yeah. Tang breath. Let's do it. Hey, Tang breath is probably better than pop breath, to be honest. It'd be funny if this gave me Tang breath, like I just ate out a bitch. Anyway. So happy 420, or what's that 420? But yay, weed. Lemon ice gelato here, says Matt. Hey, I haven't had. That's a lot of things. I think I've had some form of a lemon gelato, but I don't have had the ice in it. I mean, what's the ice? What is that? What's that part of the strain? I know what gelato is. Lemon is probably lemon diesel, but where's the ice come in? Anyway, so Tang breath. Let's go. We'll wait for the stragglers to come on in. What's up, Rich? Richie? Richard? Good morning, you all. Hey, so everybody's got different ats this morning. What's up? What's up with that, Matt? All your ats are showing up. We got bad financial decisions, Nick. We got Paul Dickhouse 8896, Matt Hubert 6969. I like it, bro. Richie G, son. It's like I see these names pop up. I'm like, oh, there's new people. Oh wait, they're not new. Same old crew. No, I'm just kidding. It's good to see you all. We got more people who are going to be piling in here. Good to see you, Richard. Good morning, everyone. We're going to do the morning pour. I'm going to answer some, initial questions. I'm going to go into my little spiel, and then, we'll go from there. So bear with me here. That's crazy. Hold on. All right, so just a second. Gotta bring up my info here. Good question up there. I'm gonna get to that in just a second. Sorry, just having some. Oh, come on. All right. Blood, hoo. All right. Got some good questions coming in here. I'm going to get to those in just a second. Just want to bring up my little thing for today. Get that going. Forgot to load that up. Sorry. Okay. Should be fine now. Let's do this. There we go. Oops. Just do it. Why are we gonna? Why is this thing being stupid? Oh, weird. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Sorry about that. Little technical issue. Okay. Let's get. I'm going to do the morning pour. Then I'm going to get to the questions, and then I'm going to get to my spiel, and then more questions. We'll get out of here. We'll go with injury updates as they're going along. Hey, in case you didn't know, Josh Jacobs, he's out for the game. So if you've got Emmanuel Wilson, fire him up. It's not like the greatest matchup, but we're dealing with bye weeks and injuries and things like that. So chances are you're probably going to have a spot for him on your squad. So anyway, we're going to go with the morning pour here. And hey, it's the fantasy playoffs. It's time to get rough and hardcore. All right. We're just going with the PBR this week. All right. We're going classic. We're on the playoff push. Let's get there. Let's go rugged. Let's go fucking hardcore. That's a terrible pour. I'm like rushing. I'm going to let that sit for a while. That was terrible. Like I said, I'm not a bartender, all right? All right, so we got some good questions here we'll get to, and then, I'll take a sip of that. So, all right, real quick. I know we said last week that if A.J. Brown didn't do much, we'd sit him. But A.J. gets Dallas this week. Do I dare sit Diggs or Emeka Buka over A.J.? All right, so here's the thing. He did get a touchdown. Did he get a touchdown? He didn't have a bad week. I'll say that last week. He didn't exactly blow it up either, but he didn't. It wasn't like, he didn't shit the bed. So, he didn't get a touchdown, but he had 11 targets. That's what it was. He had 11 targets, 7 receptions, 49 yards. So that's a pretty good stat line. If you add a touchdown in there, that's a pretty decent day. Now, of course, we expect more from A.J. Brown on previous seasons. But this season, that's actually not too bad for him. That's his 4th best output of the season. So going up against Dallas, and now his first game against Dallas, he had 1 target, 1 reception for 8 yards. Now Dallas is the fantasy fiesta, as we like to say. It's hard for me to sit him. I kind of feel like it's going to be a Smith week this week, though. So I'm not saying you're sitting them in a vacuum, but with your question here, are you going to sit Diggs or Ibuka over him? I'm definitely not going to sit Ibuka. Now Diggs, you might consider, just because it's been inconsistent, or at least somewhat inconsistent, as usual with the Patriots in terms of their wide receivers. The thing is, let's bring up Diggs' stats here. If anyone's been consistent on that team, really, it's been Diggs, especially lately. I'm looking at last 5 games, he's over 10 fantasy points. That's consistency that I like. They're going up against Cincinnati. Their defense sucks. They've been all right through the air, but honestly, I'm probably sticking with Diggs. Just because you're going to get the guarantee there that you're probably going to get, 13 to 15 points at least, if not more. Now, if A.J. Brown blows it up this week, it's not really going to be that big a deal because it's against Dallas, but we're still going to be going, all right, now we got to start him every week. So, yeah, beer's ready. So, yeah, I think that as we get into fantasy playoffs, so long as A.J. Brown is actually getting targets, I like the prospect of using him. But this week, with who with Ibuka, I know that Godwin's coming in, but they're talking about he's going to be limited and this and that. I know sometimes it's bullshit, but I think it could actually reign true this time. I think Godwin is really somebody who, I ain't starting him in any leagues or anything like that. And he could actually almost be like a decoy for Ibuka, and it could really help him. And then as far as, Diggs, like we were just saying, there's a lot of consistency as far as, Patriots concerned. But if you look at here, I'm looking at this and I'm saying only 3 games this season he's had less than 10 fantasy points. I think that's pretty damn consistent, all things considered. And this is, of course, in PPR. So, I'm going to stick with Diggs and Ibuka this week. I'm like I said, A.J. Brown could have a big week, but it's just he could also shit the bed. It could be more of a Smith week. That's kind of almost what I'm feeling. So don't, we're not dropping Brown. I think that he's going to be useful more in the fantasy playoffs. So yeah, I stick with what you got this week. Be confident in that. Good question though. YouTube account. I was young and dumb, and too old to know how to change my screen name. Yeah, I don't know. Well, my point is that, like, okay, so when I get your guys' names up on here, usually it just says your name. It says Richard Ybarra, but like, I've got everybody's like account names, YouTube account names this time. So I don't know what's going on with that. If YouTube changed some weird thing or what, but anyway, it's kind of weird and different. Doesn't really matter. Not a big deal. Okay, Matt, Ramondre Stevenson, Swift. Okay, so here's the deal. So Ramondre Stevenson is coming back off of being injured. We've seen last couple weeks that Hendo's fucking killed it. We were all excited about Hendo, of course. I've got some of them in Dynasty. I've got some of them in redraft, and finally pays off. Right, good, great. But then Vrabel comes out and says, yeah, he's helped us out. Mondre's helped us out. Jennings helped us out. So let's, we'll just give it to whoever. It's like, okay, so we're going by hot hand committee here. Now, here's the thing. Well, yeah, like then that makes you think, okay, well, then maybe I should start Stevenson because he's going to get some run. And maybe he will. But I'm not going to fully commit to thinking that Ramondre Stevenson is just going to take back the job after what Hendo's done. Hendo's been far more efficient than Stevenson. He's been the better back. It's like, what does he got to do to solidify himself the starting running back job for that team? Hey, Stevenson's been doing great too. See, I guess you can't really take that away from him. Here's the thing, though. And then with Swift, you got him dealing with Monangai. So it's like, both running backs are, they can get the job done, but they've got, younger guys that are kind of nipping at the heels, So it's kind of tough. I'm going to look at a couple things here. Give me a second. Bear with me. Jesus. All right, wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like well, let's see how many carries did it have. So Monangai last week. So last week Monangai had 12 carries, and then Swift was dealing kind of with like he's been dealing with like a hip issue, but he's going to start this week, so I'm not worried about that. But he had 21 carries and had like less production out of it. So it's like a full blown split at this point, and so kind of looking at a split versus a split. And when I'm going and with that, I'm just going to go with the better matchup, honestly. So, in which case, this one is they're going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's given up the most fantasy points to running backs, so I'm going to start Stevenson over Swift this week. I mean, just logic dictates. So that's where I'm going, bro. Stevenson over Swift. That's who I like. All right. And would you start AJ? Excuse me. Would I start AJ over Charbonnet? 100%. Standard league. I don't care. They've been talking about how they're going to give Walker more. We saw what Walker did last week. We all knew what he could do if they just give him the goddamn rock. But finally, coach is like, oh, well, really? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess we will run our top running back. And so that's what they've been doing. So yeah, I'm going to go AJ Brown in a good matchup there for Charbs. Emmanuel Wilson going to be the guy today? Sure is. That's what I'm hearing. I mean, we got the news that Josh Jacobs is out officially. So yeah, fire up Wilson. It's not a great matchup. So if you have other options that have better matchups, I might go with that. But it's not gonna be too bad. I think he'll get you, 10 to 15 points somewhere thereabouts. Herbert and Tua on a bye had to grab Tyrell. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Tyrod. There it is. Tylenol. I got to get Tylenol if I'm going to start Tyrod. Anyway, 2 quarterback league. What's your thoughts on Tyrod? Um, I mean, if that's what you got, that's what you got. I mean, what other choice do you got at this point? What are my thoughts on Tyrod? You know, he's a quarterback. He's going to get some points. He hasn't, when he's filled in the past, he hasn't been terrible. He's been serviceable. So, he doesn't, I mean, other than Waddle, he's not got much to throw to. But, or not, what am I thinking? Hold on. Sorry, my brain went fucking, because I'm reading to, all right, hold on. Whoa. Brain fart. No, so Wilson's out. So there's, again, not much to throw to. I keep mixing up Jets and fucking Dolphins in my brain. Maybe it's just weed, this Tang breath. Maybe I should get some real Tang breath. Yeah. Anyway, he's been serviceable when he plays usually. I think that Tyrod is, I mean, if your question is, I mean, you're going to start Tyrod or some random like running back or wide receiver in a flex position, but you're saying it's 2 quarterbacks. That's, it's not necessarily super flex. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't have any other choice, it's not going to be the best, but it ain't going to be the worst. And that's the best really that I can say. Let me give you a little more depth on the matchup there real quick. Excuse me. Like this, baby. Okay, let's see. Gotta get this frog out of my throat. I don't know what's up with that. All right. So, what was? Oh yeah, Tyrant. Okay. Now Baltimore's defense, they were kind of weaker in the beginning of the season because they're highly injured, but now they're getting the guys back. So the defense is, like I said, Tyrod's probably going to get you like 15 to 20 points. So whatever. It's a fine matchup. He's. I think that we could be seeing some Taylor to Taylor action. AD Mitchell might be getting in there. So, yeah, I mean, should be all right. That's not a ringing endorsement, I admit. But, that's all I got for you for him. Downs to Dortch, PPR. I'm going to go Dortch. He was my double deep danger dive of the week last week, and it paid off, of course, for those of you who were smart enough to use him. With Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce has kind of been taken over as the number 2 guy there to Pitts. It's not really even a great matchup, to be honest. So I like Dortch. It's a good matchup. I'll be talking a little bit more. Well, I'll just say Jacoby Brissett. A lot of people are sleeping on him. I don't know what's up with that. So, I'll be talking a little bit more about that later on. So I'm going to go Dortch this week over Downs. My playoff push is done. In my big league, I'm 1-9. Oh, damn. I hate that. It's like, what are you playing for at this point? Like, if you've got like a punishment in your league, try not to get the punishment, of course, right? You're still playing for that. But I know you're in a ton of other leagues. So let's help you out with those. All right, Mike Wilson or Romeo Dobbs, flex PPR. Hey, as much as we saw him, peppered with targets last week, how can we get away from Michael Wilson so long as Marv Harrison's, not out there, right? He's been peppering him, Dortch, and McBride, because Brissett is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. And I'm saying that without even hesitation. And I don't even think I'm going to get much backlash for that, to be honest. So Dobbs. Yeah, I mean, he could have a good week, he could have a bad week. He's got Golden in there competing. I think what did I see is Golden's healthy this week, isn't he? And of course, you got Sutton since he's come back. Oh no, Golden's out. Sorry, Sutton since he's come back. It's been he hasn't been. Dobbs was kind of like being the main guy. Now Watson's in there. So. Still got Wicks in there. Just a lot of mouths to feed, honestly. I just like Dobbs should be okay, but I like Wilson a little bit more. He's been the main target for Brissett. Yoshivas, Russell, or grab Golden or Van Jefferson on the waivers. PPR, freaking Chase, been suspended, and wide receiver on bye sucks. If you're talking about for today, I'm definitely starting Russell. I think it's a good play. You want me to keep doing that voice? Anyway, yeah, Yoshivas, I would say is a good grab over the other guys. So I would go for it. Not only that, but like, okay, so if someone gets injured, you got someone stashed away a wide receiver. You know that Flacco's going to throw to more than just Higgins. Higgins should be having a good game, but he's going to get a lot of attention from the defense. That's going to leave Russell free out there. So, be cool is if like Yoshivas and like Marcus Mariota would end up on the same team. Then you'd have Super Mario and Russell on the same team. Anyway, there you go. There's some impressions and one person left because they're like, what the fuck? Who's this guy? Why is he on here fucking doing weird impressions of like Mario and Yoshi and shit? Well, anyway, I give advice too, I promise. So there's definitely more questions here. I'm going to get to those in just a second. And so bear with me. I'm going to go through my sleepers, deep dives, and streamers for this week. All right. So speaking of Russell, at wide receiver, I really like starting him this week. This is kind of going to be an abridged version of this because it's just let you know who I would stream, who are my sleepers. So sleepers at wide receiver are of course Yoshi, Andre Yosivach. As you know, of course, the suspension of Jamar Chase. I didn't spin in his face. Yeah, you did. So he could be getting lots of targets today, like Yosivach. Parker Washington, it's still who else is getting, Brian Thomas is gone again this week. Someone's got to get targets. Parker Washington is a good start. Another guy that's kind of like, war of attrition, kind of just, hey, there's no one else there. So may as well is Shamir DK. And I've been big on DK this season. I've been telling you he was one of my candidates for my double deep danger dive of the year. And he was double deep danger dive of the week a while back too. So I like DK. There you go. There's a few options there for you for sleepers. If you need some DFS options, I love those guys. Film in, then take the big hitters. So there you go. At running back, there's not really a lot going on, honestly. If you didn't pick guys up, you probably aren't getting them. But you can, if you got the room, I would say pick up and stash Bashel Tootin and Blake Corum. Because if anything were to happen to ETN or Williams, you got some league winners right there. So that's what I would say this week. Don't start your running backs that you have there. If you have questions, if you're really desperate, let me know. And I'll help you out with that. But as far as running backs sleepers this week, there's not really much. So I'm just talking about picking up and stashing Tootin and Corum. Now, quarterback, real quick, I just want to say Jacoby Brissett should be owned in 100% of leagues. He's the sneakiest league winner ever. And then I'll be talking about another quarterback as well. But anyway, could be sneaky league winner. So he's available in like 40% of Yahoo leagues and shit. I don't know why. He should be owned in 100% of leagues. If he's somehow available in your league and you've been streaming quarterback, or you got some injuries, or you need something to hold out until Burrow comes back or something like that, Brissett, go get him. So, but this week, I think Bryce Young could have a good game against the Niners. He's been a little bit better as of late, right? We've never been a big guy on Bryce Young, never been huge on him, but we can't ignore the fact that the Panthers are 6-5. They're one game behind the Niners, a lot better than what we thought they were going to be. God, could you imagine next year Jonathan Brooks comes back. They got Dowdle in there. Dowdle and Brooks competing for a top spot because Chuba Hubbard's going to be on his way out. So, but last week, dude went off against Atlanta. Excuse me. For pretty big game. So, 448 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Damn. This week he's got San Francisco, who's bottom 10 against quarterbacks. So, hey, no brainer. Bryce Young, if you need an emergency fill-in at QB2, Bryce Young actually would be a good option. One of you asked about a quarterback earlier. If Bryce Young's available there, he might be worth starting. Come back and let me know what it was. If it was either Bryce Young or whoever it was that you were thinking about starting at quarterback. I don't remember. Anyway, we'll get back to that. So ask me if you need to, if you're looking at a quarterback start, put a question involving Bryce Young there in the comments, and I'll tell you who I like over him and who I don't. At tight end, I'm going to go Okonkwo. Fuck. Let me try that one more time. Here we go. Take 3. Chig Okonkwo. Hey, with no Ridley, no Iamaner. So you got DK, and then you got Okonkwo, and that's pretty much it. And now here's the thing: the Seattle defense does pretty well against wide receivers, against the quarterback. But the thing is, they're really weak against tight end. That is their weak spot. That's the chink in their armor, is the tight end. So Okonkwo might actually have a better game than DK. We don't know. But I think Okonkwo is, I very rarely would recommend him. It's really matchup based this week, though. They ain't got much to throw to. It's actually a pretty good matchup for him. Seattle's given up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. So Chig Okonkwo this week at tight end. Now we get to my double deep danger dive of the week. And you know what? Tyler Shuck has been serviceable as QB since he's been starting. He's hooking up with Olave. He's hooking up with Juwan Johnson. He's fresh off the bye this week. Lots of practice now with the ones. Okay. That's big. He's been practicing a lot more with the ones, so he's getting those reps in, and that's important. It's a divisional matchup against Atlanta. They've been, who actually are riddled with injuries, as you can see. Drake London's out, Penix is out. We might be seeing a lot of turnovers, which could equal scoring opportunities. So Tyler Shuck, another sneaky move this week if you need a second quarterback or, a DFS punt. I don't know if I'd play him in DFS because there's probably going to be better options. I think Bryce Young might be, but I don't know. You could punt at it and just go fucking ham at every other position. Hey, that's not a bad strategy, honestly. So, all right. There you go. There's my streamers, my deep dives. Now let's go on to my streaming defense this week is the Bears. And there's lots of other defenses out there. Let me know compared to like what's available in your league. I'm talking about defenses that are readily available in more than 50% of leagues. The Bears are only owned at 30%. They're going up against old man Rodgers, who claims to own the Bears, but yeah, we'll see. For the Steelers, who aren't as great, maybe things will change there. So, I mean, they are the best in the North, but still, though, I think the Bears could have a good game. They're somewhat underrated defense. Yeah, could be a good game this week. Another thought might be San Francisco. They kind of they're a good defense, like on paper. They're a good defense in the NFL. But as far as fantasy goes, they haven't been scoring a lot. They haven't been getting a lot of interceptions. They've been a little bit better as of late, though. Panthers, though, like I said, we could be seeing a lot of Bryce Young, could be seeing a lot of scoring there. So maybe they're not a good, but hey, keep an eye on them because if San Francisco does well against the Panthers, it puts up a good defense against them. I think we might be looking at starting them a lot more this season. As far as the kickers go, Jake Elliott's been sneaky good in the fantasy fiesta of Dallas. So, hey, pick him up. He's available. And if he's not, Matt Gay maybe. Niners kickers are money when they're good, but unfortunately Gay hasn't been good. we can make gay jokes, but it's not the 90s, okay? We don't have to go there. We're smarter than that. But anyway, Gay. No, I'm just kidding. But no, Matt Gay could start. But to be honest, to be fair, getting a San Francisco 49ers jersey with the name Gay on it is actually still kind of funny in 2025. Let's face it. All right. Hey, I love all my colored flag supporters and friends, but hey, joke's a joke. It's funny. So anyway, there you go. There's my streamers, my sleepers and deep dives this week. Let's get back to the questions, and then we'll get out of here, right? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Probably should have hit that. Okay, let's go back up. Boom. DB McFly. What's up, McFly? Do I dare start Charbonnet? It depends on who you're starting them over. I would like to see who it is that your other options. Personally, I'm not starting him unless I really have to, because I do believe that Kenneth Walker is going to get a lot more this week. Yosevich or Coker? I'm going Yosevich. Jalen Coker's all right. He's going to have his week, at some point. But honestly, I'm not going to bank on that. I'm going to bank more on the Bengals needing to score because the defense sucks. And Yosevich is the only other option besides Higgins. So there you go. Yeah, I agree. That's an easy one. Thanks, Mr. McFly. You name out Marty because it's DB, but, I like it. Don, good morning. Need tight end help, multiple leagues. One is Juwan Johnson or Pitts, Kittle or Bowers, Goddard or Andrews. Okay, with number one, I'm going to go Juwan over Pitts. We've seen a connection between Tyler Shuck and Juwan Johnson. That's like his number two guy to Olave. He's basically throwing exclusively to Olave and Johnson. Now we might see more to Kamara actually as well. The three of them, that's it. That's pretty much the offense. So I actually do like Juwan Johnson. Although on the other hand, Pitts. Okay, so there's no London. It's well, let me look at that. Okay, so it's a lot closer than I was thinking, because let me take a look at something here. I mean, I still really, I feel like it's going to be Juwan Johnson with the better game. I mean, even with injuries and stuff going on, I mean, Pitts has not been a thing. we thought maybe there was a little bit going on in the beginning of the season and just kind of trailed off. So I'm going to go with Johnson this week. All right. So question number two, that's a good problem to have. Kittle or Bowers? Yeah. You might be actually starting one of them in the flex. I'm not sitting Kittle in the tight end position over anyone except for Trey McBride. That's Purdy's guy. Purdy's back. I ain't sitting him. I don't care. Bowers, he's kind of taking a little bit of step back because that fucking offense sucks. Because Geno Smith sucks. So there you go. So I'm going Kittle there. Goddard or Mandrews. Mandrews has a week here, then he's off, and he's off and on. Goddard's been consistent. I got to go Goddard on that one. Good morning, Scott. PPR flex, Tez Johnson, Kyle Nangai, Spears, or Cedric Tillman. I'm not on Tez. Godwin's back, and I know he's going to be limited, but he's still going to take some targets away. We got Otten in there. You got Ibuka doing his thing. So really, I'm kind of off of Tez Johnson a little bit. Tajay Spears is kind of like, it's the Titans. If they happen to do good in a game, maybe he'll do good. If they happen to decide to start him over Pollard, then we're going to start Tajay Spears. Until then, it's kind of like a committee with Monangai, but I think Monangai is a better option. And then it's Cedric Tillman. Hey, does he have something with with Shadir Sanders. Oh man, I can't talk this morning. With Shadir Sanders. Fuck, I'm told. Wow, with Shadir Sanders. Remains to be seen. It's a good matchup though against Vegas. I will say that. Last week he had 4 targets, 3 receptions, 52 yards, pretty mediocre. This week against the number 1 Vegas, they're giving up the most points to wide receivers. Sanders is probably going to want to try to go on one this week. I don't know if I like him as a quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be any good, but between him, it's kind of between Cedric Tillman and Monangai. I want to go Monangai because let me pull it up. I want to go Monangai because even with Swift in there getting 12 carries, it's not too bad. He can still get a touchdown in there like he did last week. I mean, it's possible. It's PPR, slight lean towards Cedric Tillman this week. Slight lean. Bryce Young or Darnold today? I'm going to go Bryce Young. Darnold, he's had his games, but he's also shit the bed a few times, right? I mean, it's against Tennessee, who are actually, surprisingly, because you don't have to throw against them. I think it's going to be a big Kenneth Walker game. Charbonnet will probably get some too. I'm not starting Charbonnet over a lot of other people. I do start Charbonnet if, I'm low on options. Like I would start Charbonnet over Monangai, for example. I would start him over Spears. Yeah. Stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not, I ain't trusting Darnold. It's not a great matchup. Rest of the season is kind of iffy for him. We'll see. If he happens to do well in this game, maybe we reevaluate. But give me Bryce Young this week. Who sits? Yoshi, Watson, Shaheed, or Pittman? Who sits? Shaheed. They're not using him yet in Seattle. So, I mean, let's take a look at that here. Yeah, since he's been in Seattle, he's had like a total of 6 targets. Now, of course, his first game only had 1 target. Then, that ramped up a lot. He had 5 targets. Only caught 2 of them for 27 yards. He had 1 rushing attempt. It remains to be seen for Shaheed. I'm not going to start him until I start seeing him gel with that team. So Watson came back immediately, was making an impact. Yoshivach got a great matchup this week. Pittman, he's been Jones' guy. So there you go. I'm sitting Rashid Shaheed this week. Tatter Pittman at the flex. I'm going to go Pittman. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I read that incorrectly. Go Tet. Sorry. I thought Tez. Like, yeah, no, we're not sitting. No, Tet McMillan. I'm starting over Pittman. Tet McMillan's he's breakout. He's a rookie that's like we all knew he was going to be good, but he's this good, this fast, this early on a team that's not that great, although now they're 6-5. So he's, so there you go. I like Tet this week. Hey, another Tet question. Do we trust Tet McMillan? One league, other option is Slayton. Other league, lots of options, but Tet is a good choice this week. I'll leave it. I think so. I mean, how are we going to get away from him? I mean, do we think he's going to hit the rookie wall at some point? Probably not. That's more for running backs. So, we're looking at it. 3 out of the last 4 games, dude's up over 11 fantasy points. Last week has his best game of the season. 12 targets, 8 receptions, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You really think they're going to go away from him? I don't think so. I like Tet. This week, I like him going forward. With Slayton, that's the thing with the Giants, though. It's like, could it be Theo Johnson? Could it be Slayton? Could it be Wandale? Who's going to get the rock this week? Slayton's had a couple good weeks in a row. I mean, I will admit that, but no, I'm definitely going with Tet there. So, good morning, Erica. Smile that brightens up the day here. Love it. All right. Good AM, Tyrant gang, Darnold or Flacco, going Flacco. Flacco's healthy. You still got the Higgins to throw to. Ain't that bad. So, I like Flacco there. Broncos D or Bears D? I'm always going Broncos D. I'm never sitting the Broncos D. Even in matchups like, against really potent teams, they'll find a way to score. They always do. I really like the Broncos D this week. Or any other D I should sneak away I haven't looked into. Yeah, Broncos. I mean, throw me some names, but I can't think of anyone I want to start over them. A-Rod is out this week. Oh, he is? Oh, shit. I did not realize that he was. I thought he was playing. Well, I'll be damned. When did that happen? Did I fucking miss something? No. Nope. That's yeah. Okay. So he has been ruled out. All right. A-Rod's been ruled out, so there you go. I definitely like the Bears defense against excuse me, against Mason Rudolph. Still though, Broncos D. I'm still taking the Broncos D over the Bears. Sorry. Richard, Bears defense versus Pitts or Packers defense versus Vikings. I like the Packers defense this week against the Vikings. I think that Packers in general, their defense has been good in good weeks. They haven't been good in every week. And we thought they'd be better this season than they are. But in good matchups, I like them. McCarthy's been fucking up. And, what can I say? So I like the Packers defense. I was picking them up and starting them pretty much in every league that I could find them in. And if I didn't find them, I was going with the Bears. Or if I already had a good, defensive. See, everybody's rolling in late. What's going on here? You guys got to start coming in earlier. I got to start putting the link up earlier or something. But anyway, so Packers defense. If you missed my spiel on my sleepers and deep dives and that, go ahead and rewind, watch that, come back, if you want. Got some good info there. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, going Packers definitely. Let's see. What did I? Oh yeah, okay. Luis, what's up, Tyrant? Asking the same question I asked last week: Baker or Darnold? Went with Darnold and he threw 4 picks. So yeah, I like Baker this week. It's just Darnold's been inconsistent. It's not the world's greatest matchup. I mean, Mayfield's isn't necessarily either, but he does better in bad matchups. Like last couple weeks, really have been against pretty good defenses: Buffalo, New England, and he still averaged right around 20 fantasy points between the two of them. So yeah, give me Baker Mayfield, who I trust more in tough matchups than Sam Darnold. I beat Luis. Hey, there you go. That's the good thing about having like a couple that watches my show is that if I give you all advice, at least one of you's winning if you're facing each other, Pitts or TJ Blockinson. Oh God. I'm going Pitts without Drake London there. He could be getting some work done. So I like Pitts. TJ Hawkinson, no matter what the situation, it's just been a disappointment because the guy is talented. They're just not throwing him the ball. They're just not. Look, but if you look at it, like Jeffy's points are down this season, Addison's points are down this season. JJ McCarthy needs to fucking put it together. I think he's got the talent. I think he's just taking a year to fucking do it. He's coming off of injury. It's just this is sort of a down season for the Minnesota Vikings. I think next year all of these guys are going to be steals where you get them. But yeah, this week, this year, I'm going Pitts over Hawkinson. The Hawk has not been quite. He's more like the, I don't know, the pigeon. All right, Mr. Green, what's up? PPR, running back 2 flex, Henderson, JMO, or Wilson. Well, I'm starting Wilson this week, because we know Jacobs is out. So put him in your RB2. As far as your flex, that's between JMO and Henderson. And of course, it's going to be really hard to want to sit Henderson, right? Because he's been fucking killing it. But we do have to believe coach speak a little bit sometimes. And in this case, I do believe what Vrabel's saying, that they're going to, work it between Stevenson and Henderson. But does that mean that he's going to have a worse week than Jameson Williams? That remains to be seen. Jameson Williams has been on one. Okay, so other than the fucking stinker in week 7, okay, in the last 5 games, he's averaged over 20 fantasy points. So, if you take out that one outlier there. And the last 2 weeks, he's had 2 of his 3 best weeks of the season, including his best week of the season last week. So, the week before that was really his best week. Yeah, the 7 targets, 6 receptions, 119 yards, and a touchdown. And then last week he had 7 receptions, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 88 yards, touchdown. So, yeah, I got to go Jameson Williams. It's PPR. I got to go Jameson on there. I love Henderson. I don't want to sit him, but I got to see how this is going to shake out with Stevenson back now. If he blows it up, I'm not sitting him. I'm not sitting him ever again. But honestly, yeah, you got to be a little conservative there, just because it's not really conservative. It's more just like the smart thing to do. It's a good matchup for Jameson Williams. It's a great matchup. He's been thrown to a lot more lately. Henderson's going to be splitting carries with Stevenson. So, yeah, I like JMO and Wilson this week. Scott. Excuse me. Theo or Harold Fannin? I'm going Theo Johnson. He's been consistently better. Harold Fannon's kind of, it's been sort of a tight end by committee between him and Njoku. We're not sure who Sanders prefers yet. We don't really know how that's all shaken out. I fear the unknown sometimes. Not always, but sometimes I do. When it comes to fantasy football, I fear the unknown. But Theo Johnson's been solid, week after week, because Malik Neighbors, gone for the season. So all those guys has been benefiting. But the thing is that Theo Johnson, I feel like he's been the guy sort of benefiting the most. Now, he didn't have a great week last week. I'll give you that. But before that, total he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 8 weeks. He's been solid. Yeah, I'm going Theo this week. Let me check on something here. Especially since, it's not a great matchup either, against Vegas. I think they're going to get away with doing a lot more running, honestly. I think Harold Fannin is the guy for the future. I think at Dynasty, I'm, happy to have him in the leagues that I have him in. But, I'm going Theo this week. What's up, man? Oscar. OB Doll. I like it. Or I said OB Doll 3. I don't know. Excuse me. Good to see you. Love that fish. Anyway, need to start one for my flex. Trying to decide between Tootin, Godwin, DK, and Knight. All right, here's the deal. Tootin is good as a stash. I'm not starting him until, ETN goes down. Godwin this week, I'm not starting because, the coach says he's basically going to be on a pitch count or even worse. So I'm not starting him. Knight, it's just maybe. But I think Shamir DK, especially if this is PPR, I'm taking DK because he's going to be the top target. And he also runs back kicks, and you could take one to the house, or I don't know, maybe you're in a league where like kickers, the kick returners get points for their yardage. I don't know. In that one, yeah, I'm definitely starting DK. It's between DK and Knight, honestly. but the matchup for the running backs isn't great for Arizona. So I think I like DK. Yeah, going to up against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's given the fourth least fantasy points to running back. So I mean, he had a decent week last week. I will admit, against the Niners, he had a good week, but it's been kind of hard ever since. He's banged up now. He had he was dealing with an ankle injury. I mean, they say he's good to go. Okay. But yeah, give me DK over Knight this week, just because it's a bad matchup for Knight. If the matchup was better, if it switched around, and because DK's got a good matchup, good situation, and everything, bad Knight, bad situation, bad matchup. That's why I'm going DK on that one. Bryce or Flacco, huh? Man, that is a really good question. Between the two of them, my knee-jerk reaction is to say Flacco, but it's not a great matchup against New England. So, man, that's a tough one. And he kind of, shit the bed a bit last week. But he's kind of he'd been banged up a bit. I think he's going to be a little bit better this week than he was last week, even though they're not going to have Jamar Chase. So that kind of sets it back a little bit. A lot of question marks there. A lot of question marks. You know what? I'm actually going to start Bryce Young over Flacco. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it's a good shot to actually work. I mean, if you're if you feel that that's a bad idea and you want to start Flacco, go for it. Honestly, you could go either way. It's a coin flip, but I'm leaning Bryce Young just because the matchup's not great for Flacco. He doesn't have Jamar Chase in there. It's going to make a difference. So, yeah, give me Bryce Young this week and probably this week only. Broncos aren't even playing. You suck. Why did you do that to me? No wonder all these people are leaving. What the fuck are you talking about the Broncos? I didn't even look at shit. You got me. Okay, you got me. You got me on that one. I didn't even look. Because I'm yeah, Broncos, whoever they're playing, I don't give a fuck. Who are they playing? I think I was just thinking about I'm preparing, or I was thinking about last week or some shit. Sorry, that was stupid. I meant the Colts. But I'll go Bears since Aaron Rodgers is out. Yeah, that's what I would do. Plus, the Colts matchup isn't good either. So, yeah, I would definitely go with Bears. That's my flub. That's my bet. How did I fuck that up? Erica, you little so-and-so, Luis, you let her know what's up. yeah, give a little what for me. Yeah. Nothing too bad, just give us some shit about this one. That's not fair. If you cook her meal, overcook her steak or something, I don't know. Get her back for me. Bam Knight or Coker, the flex. I have to go Bam Knight just because he's guaranteed to get points and Coker's not. PPR flex, DK, Tillman or Jefferson. I'm going to go DK just because he's going to be the top target for Cam. And I know that being a top target for Cam Ward is being the king of a porta potty. But, DK is actually a talented wide receiver, and he's someone coming in the league that I thought would eventually be the guy over Ayomanor, and that might actually happen. DK's been impressive. I like DK this week. Van Jefferson's a little bit sneaky, but nah, I like DK this week. Champagne problems, but Odunze or Pittman. Oh, geez. Really? Yeah, another good problem to have. Odunze's been pretty good. It's been back and forth with him. He's been, but if you look at rest of the season, looks great. It looks fine. And this game, especially against Pittsburgh, I like Odunze in this game. Pittman, he's been the guy. Hold on, let me pull it up here. he's been the guy, had his shit week in week 10, but, otherwise he's been the guy for Daniel Jones. It's not a good matchup, though, this week or next week, honestly. This week against the Chiefs, next week against the Texans. So I'm going to go with the Dunze just because of the better matchup, honestly. So, yep, let's go with Dunze. He's been a little bit hot, like I said, it's back and forth with him, but I think that team, the offense is looking better. I have a Dunze in some leagues. I'm actually starting him with confidence, so I'm going to Dunze over Pittman this week. Good question, though. Chase Brown, what's up, Preston? Good to see you. Chase Brown or Kyron Williams, PPR, Mark Andrews or Ferguson. Yeah, Chase Brown or Kyron, another good problem to have. I think I got to go with Williams this week because Chase Brown's been pretty good. He hasn't been quite exactly what we've been talking him up, although last few games he's been showing that. Last few games, he's been ramping it up. But, again, we're against New England. Their stout defense. I'm not guaranteeing, without Jamar Chase out there, that offense isn't going to look as good. I kind of a little bit hesitant on that. I'm starting Chase Brown over, most running backs. But against Kyron Williams, if I got to choose between the two of them, I'm going Kyron. A lot of people were talking about Kyron Williams kind of having, a setback year. We haven't seen it. He's had one game of single digit fantasy points. He's been just killing it this season. I love Kyron Williams, so I'm going Kyron. It's a good matchup against Tampa Bay as well. Tampa Bay's giving up third most to running backs. I'm going with Tampa Bay. I'm going with going with Kyron Williams there. As far as the other question here, Mark Andrews or Jake Ferguson, it kind of seems like at first, you're like, oh, no brainer. But the thing is that Jake Ferguson, a couple things. First of all, after such a hot start to the season, last 3 games haven't been quite as good. Now, last game, again, coming off the bye against the Raiders, he did score a touchdown, which is great. But then if you look at it, he's become kind of touchdown dependent in the second half of the season. We don't like that. Now you're going up against Philadelphia. Philadelphia's not letting tight ends get shit this season. Okay, second best team against first or second. He's like top 2 basically against tight ends. Now that doesn't always mean anything because maybe they're not facing a lot of great tight ends, right? But let's see. Let's take a look at something here. This is where we go deep. Oh, we got to get out of here soon. We only got 2 questions left. We're good. They haven't been facing, a lot of great tight ends this year. So, honestly, that's not really the biggest factor for me. The big factor for me is just, first of all, is production has dropped off. And, no, it's not a great matchup. But the guy who's been heating it up lately is Mark Andrews. The matchup isn't as great, but he did well against Cleveland. He's been getting more attention. I'm going to give the slight edge to him, Andrews. Plus, I love Andrews. Andrews this week, Preston. God is good. It's Sunday. I'll accept that. Hey, there's one person left watching. What the hell? Where did everybody go? Someone dropped Pitts. Should I grab him and start him over Theo? Yeah, do that. It's good move this week. Erica, Raiders versus Cleveland or Bears versus Steelers? I like I'm going Bears. Bears this week. Ramondre or Algier in the second or in half PPR. I'm going Algier. Maybe if it were standard, it'd be closer. But Algier's been not producing, of course, to the level of Bijan, but he's been pretty good. Hey, Oscar out here saying everybody's running to set their lineups right now. Yeah, of course. 15 minutes left. I got to set mine too. Hey, thanks, everyone. Great show this week. Check out next week, Thursday. All right. I know there's only 3 of you left still watching, but maybe you'll come back and see this. Thursday, we've got a Thanksgiving special in the morning. My Thursday B&B. Yeah. So it'll be a bed and breakfast on Thursday morning before we're having Turkey Day. I don't know. Am I gonna have some turkey? I don't know. I might have a big old drumstick. We'll see. We'll see what I have. Maybe I'll just eat a pie. I love pie. Anyway, so we'll see you all this Thursday for a live benches and bumps for the Thursday games only. I'm gonna give 1 bench and 1 bump from each game. Okay. And then we're gonna have a great Turkey Day, and I'll see you again next Sunday as well. All right. Hey, thank you so much. Good luck this week. Love you all. Until Thursday, I'm out. Peace.